Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Rick and Morty tier list. The final episode for now, until they release Season 7. And the movie, if that's still happening, I have no idea if it actually is. I hope it's happening. But, for now, we don't have, we were told that, but in recent developments with the creator and stuff, we're not positive on it. So, anyway, let's get into the tier list. Alright, we got the Season 5 premiere. I think I'll put it in great. I think I'm pretty comfortable putting it there. The side plot was one of the best Rick and Morty side plots of all time. Super creative, really funny. It was just... It was awesome. It also introduced one of the best and most memorable side characters in the entire show, which... saying a lot. There's a lot of side characters that are memorable and awesome. Mr. Nimbus is hilarious. His design is great. His concept is great. It's really funny to see this douchebag, be pretty much equal with the most powerful, smart man in the universe. Overall, it's a great episode. I always enjoy rewatching it. Episode 2. So, this is the decoy one. I'm also gonna put this in great. This episode, it's not important. It's not like it's not pretentious. It just does what it wants to, pretty much. And everything works. This is just this feels like a season 1 episode. A good season 1 episode. Season 2. Feels like a good season 2 episode. It's one of the most complicated episodes. I still don't fully understand it. I think that's the entire point, is that you don't actually know if you're shown the actual Rick and Morty the entire episode. You're probably just shown decoys the entire time. It gets really funny, it gets really creative, it gives you twist after twist after twist. Awesome episode. I love it. Oh, Planetina. Normally I wouldn't rank. I'm not gonna rank these. Actually, I'll just put this episode. But if I did rank it, this would go at the top of great. It's so close to being one of the best episodes in the series. It's so close. But if it wasn't for the side plot shatters this episode. This could have been the best episode in the series, legitimately. I think so. But it just... Drinking my water. The side plot just devastates this episode. It's not funny, not creative. It's just Summer and Rick going to dying worlds, which that could be an interesting idea, but then they do it so that they can do it with all the creatures It just gets uncomfortable, and it's all weird, and like Rick grows attached to this one lady that says hello all the time, and I hate her design. And it, good lord, man, if it wasn't for the side plot. It wasn't for the side plot. In retrospect, with other episodes, I guess it's not the worst, but it ruins this episode. The main plot, however, exceeds. It crushes. I think it overwhelms the side plot quite well. Just the relationship between Planetina and Morty is honestly so endearing, so fun to watch, so rewarding to watch. They have real chemistry that's really hard to pull off, and that's what, like 15, 14 minutes that we were shown of them. It's legitimately, like, really good. It's some of the main plot is some of the best Rick and Morty has ever been, which is weird because it's Rick and Morty. That's not really stuff like that's not really what the show is about. But it's so good. Planetina as a character is probably my favorite side character ever. I love her design. I love the idea of her. This, like, man, I'd cry at this episode every time I watch it. It's the ending just ruins me. It's close to home, you know. And that one scene where she's burning up the oil rig. That look on Morty's face. Completely and utterly horrified at the thing that he loves. The woman that he wanted to choose so badly is doing these things. It's devastating. I wish we had more episodes like this. The main plot is one of the best main plots in any Rick and Morty episode. And it probably would be my favorite if they just focused fully on the main plot. If they focused fully on the main plot, I think this would comfortably be my favorite episode. I eat dramas like this up. It's so good. Let me get to this episode. No. I don't even want to talk about it. This episode is gross. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't make any sense. It's like Raising Gazorpazorp 2. The side plot is really dumb. The main plot is just living sperm. Really? Really? You couldn't come with anything else? You can't come up with anything else? Living sperm? You'd be kidding me. It's just disgusting. I hate this episode. It has a few good jokes, but otherwise it's immemorable, weird. I don't even want to talk about this episode. Terrible. put it in decent. Put this one in decent. The Hellraiser episode. Not much to really say about this episode. It's really forgettable. Doesn't have much going for it outside of the concept of these dudes. You know, these dudes, pain causes pleasure for them. They could have done a lot more with it, but they don't. This episode had a lot of potential to be just a funny adventure, but I think they fell flat. It's fine, but I'd rather watch a lot of other episodes, shown clearly by it being decent. The turkey episode, I liked it. Wasn't too good, wasn't too bad. It's like it's probably the most average that Rick and Morty gets in terms of, you know, shows. Still with the typical Rick and Morty spin, of course. The president, I forgot his name because they say it like one time in the whole series. He's one of my favorite side characters. He's funny. He's got I think he's got a lot of charm. And he's an asshole in a funny way. And also his voice is awesome. I think it's Keith David's. Or is it... I think it's Keith David's. Hold on. I gotta look this up. President Rick and Morty. Keith David, yeah. I love Keith David. One of my favorite voice actors. He's so cool. So, it's just a good, funny episode. Not really much more, not much less. They could have done a lot more with the turkey going into the president's body. Or he didn't really go into his body. He took his DNA and then transformed into him. They could have done a lot more with that, but besides some missed potential, I think this episode is good. I don't like the Gogotron with the ferrets. It's just a boring episode. Normally I eat stuff like that up. I love this stuff normally. This episode just didn't grab me like something like this normally would. But like the animation is cool. The fight scenes are decent. The final battle of the episode where Rick is fighting all the anime dudes, and he pulls out like a little puppet of him, and he shoots the gun. That's a pretty memorable joke. It stands out. But they tried to do like a monologue thing with Summer and Morty, which didn't. It kind of just shoved into the episode, and like they try to make a business by combining a bunch of different Gotrons, and like it's just boring and unmemorable for me. It's very mid. Oh, this episode is... I don't know if I could call it one of the best. It's at least in great, though. Love this episode. Rick goes into Bird Person's mind, trying to find Bird Person's conscious, I guess, to revive him after he got turned into Phoenix Person, and then this episode happened, which messed up Phoenix Person really, messed up Bird Person really bad. Seeing Rick interact with him Rick interacted with himself in a really unique way, in that we're not seeing a clone of him. We're not seeing, you know, an alternate reality version of him, or a decoy, or any of that. We're seeing him. A younger version of him. Before Rick's life happened, where he, you know, went to war and, you know, all that stuff happened to him. It's really interesting to see some of their conversations. And otherwise, it's funny, it's great. I think it's one of the best plot-driven episodes of the whole show. I love it. I always enjoy rewatching it. Oh, the Crows episode. Oh, I think it goes in good. The Crows thing was cool and funny for a while, but I think they get way overused. I think they go way too far with the joke that Morty's better, that two crows are better than Morty. I think Rick was just way too much of an asshole. And then the side plot, I don't know which one's the main plot in this one. I think the main plot is Morty's friend, which I don't know what to think about him. I don't even remember his name. He's not memorable at all. He's just like an average surprise villain guy that they tried with, but it's not really leading to anything. It's a funny episode. It has its moments, but oh, and it leads very nicely into the season 5 finale. But otherwise, it's fine, I guess. Season 5 finale, however, one of the best episodes. It's I mean, it's the season 5 finale. If you've seen it, you know how good it is. We finally get Rick's backstory. We finally know a lot of the things he's been through and a lot of things he's done. His crybaby backstory. One of the best scenes in the entire show. It makes Rick's character more endearing than I think it ever has been. Which is like, it's surprising, honestly, because we're 5 seasons in, pretty much 6 seasons in, and they're still finding new ways to make the biggest asshole in the universe, Rick, likable. It's awesome. Really love this episode. It's not a showstopper or anything, but I think it's the best finale of the entire series. I'll probably rank the best of the best at the end. So, on to season 6. Season 6 finale. It was really solid. I can't think of a single problem with it. Does everything right. Does everything that it needs to. It's one of the most plot-driven episodes, which I always love. It's... If you've watched Matt Pat's video on the topic, you'll know how it, like, teaches a message about how to handle grief in different ways, and how, you know, the Cronenberg dimension Jerry is handling it in the wrong way, and so is our Rick. That's pretty interesting. It's a unique theme for Rick and Morty. Something that they never really touched on is grief. I hope for more episodes like this. It's a good episode. Love it. Die Hard episode. This episode was... The main plot of the episode was really interesting and... unique. It was really creative. So it, like, you care. This episode makes you care about the people that are Morty, but they're not Morty. Like, the main girl and her dad, they become really, really likable characters, and you become concerned for them. It's a great episode. And the side plot was hilarious. The whole thing with Die Hard. I thought it was really funny. I loved it. Solid episode. Beth clone episode, quite controversial. You know, I think it goes in great. I do think it goes. I think it's as good as the rest of these episodes. And that's for one reason. It's one of the best anti-humor episodes of any show I have ever seen. It makes you so uncomfortable with the way it's paced, the way it's animated, the way that the shots are set up, even to be really up close and almost intimate for these two women who are essentially the same exact person, only differentiated by look and experience in certain areas. One scene in particular where Rick, Summer, and Morty are at the dinner table and they're listening to Jerry and the two Beths upstairs, and they're just sitting there in complete silence, just looking at each other. And that goes on for like 2 minutes. It's one of the funniest scenes I have ever seen in this entire show. I really... I don't think I've ever laughed so hard at any other episode of this show. It's so funny. But also, like, this episode does make me quite uncomfortable, and makes a lot of other people quite uncomfortable as well, which I can definitely see. Let me get to this episode. This episode was great. I loved this episode. I love rewatching this episode. This night people thing, super creative, really well done. They're one of the biggest threats that these characters have ever faced because it's themselves. It's literally just themselves, but more violent. This episode is great. Love it. Oh, the fortune cookie episode. Yes, I do think it goes along with each of these. The fortune cookie episode is so funny. It's so creative. Jerry is a likable person here, instead of being what he was in the first 2 seasons, which was a huge jackass. It's a great episode. This is the episode that most people say does make them uncomfortable also, along with the Clone Beth episode, this one, because the entire plot is about Jerry trying to avoid hitting the sack with his mom. But it's funny. They make it so funny. And like the build up to what they are building up to in the episode is really, really well done. And all the action scene with all the soldiers eating the fortune cookies, but their fortunes actually end up screwing them over. That was grand. I loved it. It's just a really fun episode. I will always enjoy rewatching it. Oh, the dinosaur episode. This goes in great. This episode was really interesting. It's paced really strangely for a Rick and Morty episode. The voice acting felt a bit off at times, but otherwise it was a great episode. I loved the story. I loved the plot twist that the meteor that hit the dinosaurs is actually a member of a species what's entire purpose is to murder the dinosaurs. I thought that was hilarious. And it's actually really funny to see that Rick is being outsmarted by dinosaurs. The dinosaurs themselves also, they're self-righteous, sarcastic, not really sarcastic, self-righteous, overly literal. Yeah, I guess I'll say sarcastic. Personalities are really funny. It's a great episode. Love it. This is one episode where they got really meta. It's like Story Trade 2. And it was great. It was really, really creative. Not as creative as the Story Train episode, of course, but I think they did a lot of great things with this episode. I'm still not sure what the last like third of the episode means. It's a really complicated episode. But it's really funny, really creative, all over the place, in a good way. And the superhero team, the meta dudes, I don't remember what their names are. They're hilarious. I laugh at them every time. The twist, continuity error. That's really funny stuff. Wish we had more of those jokes. The dad jokes. Analyze piss. Love this episode. You know, it's it's one of the most interesting episodes for sure, because we see Rick do probably one of the kindest things he's ever done. Not for self-gain, not for any selfish reasons, not because of an ulterior motive or because of spite. He did it because I don't know what he did it for. He is a father, so I suppose he can understand what the daughter is going through, maybe. But it's a, you know, Rick becomes a really likable character in this. Were his choices really justified? I wouldn't say that. But it is a great episode. Truly. And the side plot was pretty good, also. Jerry with the orb. I liked it. Alright, this episode I honestly think also belongs in Best of the Best. Really creative ideas. A lot of really creative ideas. Pummeled into one thing, and like this idea of tradition versus... What's the opposite of tradition? I have no idea, but it's a great episode. I loved it. It was really funny how they brought back the vat of fake acid thing, but they did the vat of fake sun. I laughed so hard at that. And Morty had to chop off his salami. So then they had 3 different fail-safes, and none of them worked. It was really hilarious. And the knights themselves were actually really interesting characters, I found. And I think that's all the important things. I just love the episode. It's great. Then the season 6 finale. I'm not really sure where to put this. I can't put it in best of the best. I'll put it in great. It's not the best season finale. It's not the worst. It was strange, to be sure, how the main theme of the episode is that Morty accidentally dropped a actual lightsaber perfectly vertical going down, and then he finds Rick in his robe and underwear trying to find Rick Prime. I feel like they should have put more focus into that. But that's just me. What do I know? I've never made a show. And I've certainly never made Rick and Morty. But, you know, it's a good episode. The main running joke of the episode, the miracle on 37th Street, they carry it out so much. It's really funny. Let's see. Oof. What else is there to say about this episode? It's funny and it's good. Like, that's about as far as it goes, I think. All the Star Wars stuff was done really good. Though I think they could have done more. I really don't want to put it in good. I like this episode a lot. Yeah, I think I'm pretty good with it being there. So that was my Rick and Morty episode tier list. Every episode released so far. You know, Rick and Morty is very, very fascinating show to watch because it's got some of the highest highs that you'll ever high. And it's got some poopy episodes. But even the poopy episodes they can be better than entire shows hope to be. And so it's a great time. I will always enjoy rewatching this show. Even sitting through the bad episodes, there's still a sense of enjoyment to it because the actors bring so much unique character and personality into the voices of these characters. And the animation is so stylish, and the writing is top-notch. It's a fantastic show. Always be in my top 5 favorites. And I forgot to summarize the season 5 and season 6. So season 5 overall wasn't bad. Had some really, really great moments. It was mostly just an enjoyable season and not much more. This episode was a real stinker, and the rest is like, eh. But it's one of the. I'm not sure. It's not the best. It's not the worst. It's good. Hold on. What happened to my music? Yes, continue watching. What do you mean? Season 5 is... It had so much potential. It had so much potential in so many ways. But it's not one of the better episodes. It's in the lower half, I think. And season 6. Season 6 is my favorite season of the whole show. I think it's the most consistent. It's the most consistently good. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 episodes in great and 3 in best of the best. Even season 3, one of the best seasons, has 3 that are in good. I think overall, season 6 is my favorite season. And now I'm going to rank each of these episodes individually. So these are the top 3. That's how it's going to remain for now, until I maybe someday decide to change that. This episode goes down probably to the bottom, honestly. And this one. I don't... this episode goes below. This is probably the worst one in Best of the Best, which is not... I'm not crapping on it. It's just not as good. It's still a top-notch episode. It's just not as good. And this episode is also not as good. I don't even remember my description for why I loved it so much in the first tier list episode. I do love it though. I do love it. Let's see. The Citadel episode goes there. This episode goes there. Yeah, that one goes like that. And then we got, it's fine there. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Those are my top, what is it, 11? So, wait. 12. Yeah, 12. That's a weird number. Okay. Top 12 episodes. If you remove these two, it's a top 10. But I don't want to remove those two because I really love them. Well, that was my tier list of all the Rick and Morty episodes thus far. I'll make another one when... Just guess I'm repeating myself. I'll make another one when they make Season 7 and the movie. And we'll see where those go. That's going to be it for today. Thank you for watching, and this is the Bungus Boys. Thank you for watching.